After we graduate from college, my grandparents give each of us enough money to purchase a house. We are responsible for our own success in college. After paying off some debt, my older brother still had enough money for a 50% down payment and emergency savings in the bank. I had the good fortune to be eligible for both a bursary and a scholarship from my father's company. I purchased a modest home close to public transportation when I graduated so that I could ride the train to work. I met and wed my spouse a few years later. At my wedding, he got to know my cousin Yvonne. She is stunning. Even though I know I'm not ugly, she's stunning. 3 months or so after the wedding, they began having an affair. I learned about it since they are both foolish. Not only was I angry, but I was also hurt. I wanted to get rid of him right away and get a divorce. Rather, I bided nearly 6 more months. I broke down to my grandparents a month before she was set to graduate from university. I informed them that I had recently learned of the infidelity, and that I was devastated that someone in my own family would do such a thing to me. They let me remain with them for a few weeks. I refused to talk to my spouse when he tried to reach out to me. My grandmother assisted me in finding a divorce attorney. My cousin has essentially been rejected by the family during this time. My house was protected under our prenuptial agreement as a premarital asset. I gave my former partner a month to vacate. In regards to marriage and family, my grandparents are traditionalists. They are furious beyond belief. They replied that while they couldn't undo what she did, they could make their disapproval clear. They handed her money to me. She knew she could pay back the school loans she took out. Additionally, she did not specifically select a degree in the STEM fields, meaning that her pay upon graduation will be modest. Because he loves me, my ex is pleading with me to let him stay. I asserted that if he truly loved me, he wouldn't have affairs. He doesn't, as far as I know. He just realized how crazy he is after doing the arithmetic. My aunt and uncle are upset with me for defrauding their child of such a large sum of money. Let me be clear about this. I never intended to steal her money. All I wanted was for our grandparents to keep it away from her. It was like frosting on a cake for me. The family is split right now, mainly on my side. They don't want to dispute my grandparents in public. Everything has come to an end. My retirement account contains my money, but the divorce process will take longer. My cousin can go screw herself. My ex is no longer living with me. I regret not approaching them right away and informing my grandparents about it. I was asked how I knew by my ex. Before he erased them, I informed the moron that all of his texts were visible on our tablet. I have screen grabs of every document. I suppose what I'm asking is, did I overreact in this instance? Is it foolish of me to turn my husband's extramarital affair with my cousin against him? Not the fool. Your cousin self-inflicted this injury. She can be paid for by your uncle and aunt. Your grandparents did not perform the actions that you requested. They are quite free to use and donate their funds as they see fit. Although she was played, your cousin attempted to play you. By ending this when you did, you escaped a bullet. Your former partner is a moron. It's also unfortunate that your aunt and uncle are more concerned with money than with the behavior of their kids. It wasn't by coincidence that the cousin ended up in your husband's bed. They're both behaving like complete moron. Both must deal with the fallout from their deeds. Yes, I have been with my partner for a long time and have met a lot of her stunning cousins and coworkers, just like many regular people do. They never believed that you could all be intimate because, really, what the heck? After meeting her stunning cousin at his own wedding, Opie's ex felt compelled to ruin their lives. Depressing. And my darling cousin, was it because I am so beautiful that she had to take him? So sad, so sad. Yes, they both did. But even if I hadn't received my inheritance from my old school grandparents, I would make an effort to avoid sleeping with my cousin's spouse if I started having affairs with married men. She so undoubtedly lost out more, but whatever. Well, congratulations, Op. This is the correct way to exact revenge. Excellent work. Funny how people become neutered or silenced even if they disagree with your grandparents. Your uncle and aunt are upset that their child was mishandled. Their infant is a moron. They are also fools. They need to have shown regret and given their daughter the proper discipline, but they most likely never did in the past, which is why her bad behavior occurred. That was some weeks ago. Let me introduce you to my friend Lindsay. I no longer think of her as a friend, so I use the term loosely here. Both of us are in our early 30s. Although we haven't been as close in the past few years, I've known her for 10 years. Lindsay informed me that not everyone needs to be a mom, and that she couldn't see myself as a mother when I was trying to get pregnant. If I don't want to, that's alright. Lindsay texted me late one night when, after years of trying, I was pregnant. She said, what I believed to be intoxication, that she had done far more with children than I had. I have options, and she would make a far better mother than I would. Her suggestion was adoption. Although Lindsay is childless, she worked as a nanny and babysitter for almost 10 years. I made the decision not to invite her to my baby shower after reading those remarks. Just a few months ago, my kid was born. He was given the name of a sadly deceased family member. Although it's not very uncommon, his name is very common. In the US, it ranks among the top 200 names, possibly even the top 300. I texted a picture of my kid to a group chat Lindsay was in a few weeks ago. He gets called a long name by my friend in jest. For example, if his name was James, my friend would refer to him as James the Giant Peach. He doesn't really go by James, but you get the idea. Lindsay stated, "That's awful." I asked, "What?" She answered, "Your child's name is cringy as heck, and he'll get made fun of as a kid and teenager." I became enraged and retorted, "When you have kids, you can do whatever you want with them and name them whatever you want. But you do not have kids. Let me do what I want with mine." She never answered. Lindsay recently learned that she might not be able to have children, so she reached out to me on the side. She called my comment offensive. That's unfortunate to hear, but it doesn't excuse her remarks towards my child. I haven't heard from her since. Am I the foolish one? Edit. Just to be clear, she made her comment on my son's name before he was even born. Not the fool. Lindsay, your friend, was petty and cruel. She may have been jealous since she had unsuccessfully tried to conceive in the past and took her frustration on you. I believe that anyone who makes claims like the ones you indicated she was making isn't really a friend in the first place. I would let her go from my life as a person. However, why are you concerned about this impolite woman? When she said all those hurtful things, she didn't give a damn about you. Why should I care? Why even maintain a friendship with someone such as her? Enjoy your little man to the fullest and keep her at a distance. It's unfortunate that Lindsay is unable to become a parent. Nevertheless, she has no right to disparage other people's motherhood or infants because of this personal sorrow. Can I see why she's becoming upset? Indeed. Is it appropriate for you to confront her about this? Yes, as well. I, a 28-year-old man, need to see things from her, my wife's, perspective. After 4 years of marriage, I believed that we had the same values regarding being near my family. She recently mentioned moving though, and I told her that I wasn't willing to do that. She's mad at me now, and I wonder if I'm the stupid one. Allow me to explain the situation. My family is quite close-knit. My siblings are John, 30 male, Matto, 26 male, Isabel, 24 female, and Dina, 22 female. My parents are all 60 years old. Every Sunday, we have a family meal that is a custom since we all live close to one another. It makes me very happy to spend time with my family, whom I truly love. I told my wife, Tricia, before we were married, that I would not bargain to move away from my family. They all get along well, so she seemed fine with it at the time, and I think she actually enjoyed being around them. But Tricia has just now begun to broach the subject of moving out. She had no desire to live in one location forever. She wanted to travel and see different things. I feel passionately about keeping connected to my support system and the people I love, even if I can understand her point of view. Since my career and time with Tricia currently occupy the majority of my calendar, moving would drastically reduce the amount of time I spend with my family. I treasure our relationship and our weekly family dinners. I'd rather not give that up. Things became heated between Trisha and me when I told her about my position on staying put. She called it odd and stated her displeasure at being so close to my family. I recognized that it would be difficult for her to understand because she might not have the same type of relationship with her family. I refused to compromise though, because I genuinely feel that my family is an essential aspect of my existence. I told Trisha during the heated debate that I would not be moving with her, but she was free to move if she so desired. I meant it to be an acknowledgement that we had different desires about our living situation rather than an ultimatum. She hasn't spoken to me since and has been upset with me, saying that I'd put my family before her. So, am I the moron for telling my wife she may leave if she so chooses and not moving away from my parents? But I also don't want to lose the intimacy I have with my family. I really don't want to upset her or make her feel irrelevant. The astonishing amount of people I've encountered had the mentality. Why would I ever put someone else above my family? My brain just isn't capable of processing such thinking. Sorry, but the fool is you. I believe that every now and then you should take a weekend away from your family to concentrate on your marriage. She's letting you know that she doesn't think you value her. If you want to keep her, you should listen to her, right? His wife almost seems to be there only to pass the time between these family get-togethers, which are clearly his top interests. No matter how kind my in-laws were, I would never agree to weekly dinners. Yes, I could see a monthly. But each and every weekend? God forbid, Opie. You must choose between your wife and your family now that you are an adult. You clearly would prefer to her than to go away from his family. To be honest, he is free to live his life as he pleases, but good luck finding a woman who will put up with him. In my mind's eye, I picture Op as a 55-year-old man who is currently caring for his parents and an elderly sibling. The other siblings no longer visit once a month or once every two because they have grown up and have enough kids of their own. Rather of spending time with his spouse, he has declared himself single. He complains about his witch of an ex to his surviving sibling all day long. Jackson, my 34-year-old male preteen son, needed his tonsils removed, and the procedure was set for Monday. On the day of the procedure, my ex and I informed our family about it because it was only a week away. At the hospital, it was only the ex and myself. The procedure took around 30 minutes, and it took an hour to prepare him. The first indication that the anesthesia wasn't working effectively for him was that there were some difficulties, such as his blood pressure being too low, which was most likely caused by the anesthesia. In 30 minutes, my ex's parents, her husband, and their 2 children arrived unexpectedly, according to the doctor, who also indicated that the nurses were taking him to his room and monitoring his vitals. They appeared to be going overboard with the balloons and gifts, but whatever. She neglected to inform me that they were coming, and I was furious. A nurse arrived a short while later, saying that Jackson was distraught from the anesthesia and that he needed his father. Kids are usually asleep when they cry, but my son was yelling and sobbing for me. He seemed to be euphoric or something, like I had never seen him act like that. As I gave him comfort and cuddles, the circus entered through the door. Everyone was there, and they were noisy, thanks to my ex. Jackson became frightened when he failed to recognize them. His grandparents were just annoying, his stepdad kept attempting to kiss him, and his stepbrothers began laughing and filming it. Jackson seemed agitated, so I requested everyone to stop talking. I told my ex to stop being rude, and I just ordered him to get the hell out. Her mother remarked, "You invited these people into the room." "I didn't." I answered, "Yes, we were invited. Leave now, everyone, before I have you all thrown out." All of them gone except for my ex. I still have my ex waiting on me to say I'm sorry to everyone. I'm willing to talk to them, but if they are unable to accept my experience, I won't apologize. I was just as disrespectful as they were. The fact that my ex invited everyone without even telling me irks me as well. This isn't a school play, and no, my son doesn't remember anything from the 8 in the morning till now. And 4 p.m. after he has matured. No, not that dumbass. One of the scariest and most vulnerable things a person may ever through is waking up from anesthesia. I find it surprising that the hospital let so many people in after each of my operations. Until I gave the all clear, nobody was permitted to enter my room. In your son's case, the staff ought to have waited for your approval before letting anyone in. I would bring that up with the administration with all due respect. I would still be upset if your ex had harassed them. Yes, it amazes me that the mother allowed the stepchildren to make fun of him. She allowed the stepbrothers to capture the youngster in a precarious situation. They're undoubtedly thinking of posting this on TikTok, and I would be furious. You are a fool if you nurture your children in this manner. I begin to wonder if he's secure with them. It's obvious that she values her new family more. At that point, I would request sole custody. It makes sense why, in his fear, the child desired his father. Jesus, I can understand why she's your ex. I would be tempted to send them a non-apologetic message along the lines of, "I'm sorry you were offended. I asked you to get out when you thought it was all right to barge in on my son, who was severely upset and having a medical reaction, and then film and make fun of him for his condition and traumatize him. Last year, my son Robbie, 25, wed my wonderful daughter-in-law Ella, 25. During their first Christmas together, Robbie brought Ella home, after they had initially met and begun dating while still in college. She instantly fit in with the family. Before the wedding, she told me multiple times that her family wasn't the best people and that she didn't get along well with them. Ella experienced extreme cruelty from her parents. My son even said that he was occasionally surprised by the way they spoke to Ella. They prioritized themselves over Ella as well. During the wedding, I witnessed directly how they treated her. It was repulsive. Ella has a deep affection for chocolate fudge cake. Since none of her parents enjoys chocolate, she was never able to consume it when they were around. For her birthday, they would not even let her have chocolate cake. Their favorite red velvet cake had always been decorated to look like it belonged to an adult rather than a youngster. Ella felt compelled to comply and receive a red velvet cake for her birthday even after she had flown the nest. Though she would constantly tell him it wasn't worth the fight, Robbie would always urge her to acquire the cake she desired. I've always had a deep love for baking, especially when it comes to baking for my family. Ella loves chocolate fudge cake, so I constantly try to make it for her. Because they are crafted with love, which she values above all else, she has always claimed that they are her favorite. Ella celebrated her 25th birthday last weekend with her family and our friends. Robbie expressed her displeasure that Ella's parents were pressuring her into eating the red velvet cake once more. I intervened and asked Ella if it would be acceptable if I made her cake. If it would be alright, I informed her that I would be baking her favorite cake, chocolate fudge cake. At first, she wasn't sure, but later on, she expressed her love for that. I told her she could put all the responsibility for her parents' complaints on me. She deserves better than to be treated in that manner, I also said. The chocolate fudge cake is what I baked her. Ella's parents were not happy, but she was. When I noticed that they were going to chastise Ella for her cake, I stepped in right away. I wanted to become Ella's favorite, so I told them I'd made it. They asked me who I thought I was, and said that it was meant to be that their daughter would always have red velvet birthday cakes. For the remainder of the party, they puffed and huffed like kids, and after that, I received a few texts from them criticizing what I had done. Ella was not exempt from their wrath either. She said it wasn't my fault, but she acknowledged that she found it hard to handle the consequences. Repercussions related to cake. How shallow and undeveloped are Ella's parents? Please, you are not the foolish person. And when you go on vacation, have chocolate cake brought to their Airbnb. And bring chocolate cake to every gathering you're invited to, as well as the ones you're not. Let the chocolate fudge blitz begin. Continually get worse over something this small. Whoa, you really are the hero. My heart hurts for Ella because she was raised by two whiny 5-year-olds. Sincerely, I hope that treatment helps her and that she musters the bravery to cut off touch with those horrible people. Hearing about a nice mother-in-law-daughter-in-law relationship makes me very happy. That is truly unusual. That Ella now has a caring mother figure in her life makes me happy. I appreciate you standing up for her,